This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Welcome on to the Research Talks here from Stockbox with Alan Green. Alan, how are you doing this week?
Yeah, busy week, Mark. Busy week.
Good.
Just lots of interviews, announcements, bits and pieces. So yeah, really, the real sense the market sort of exploded into life this week. And of course, midweek we had the fundraise from ECR Minerals, which is good news. It means the company's now very well cashed up for the rest of the year, and a few grumbling investors, but actually was raised at 0.3p, so that's a lot higher than, of course, the initial raise that took place last year. So good news.
Yes, indeed. No, good stuff. So, I mean, there's been quite a few developments this week, haven't there, on a few different companies. Marula, we're going to talk about. Voyager Life had a very big bit of news, actually. I still think even I don't perhaps appreciate how big that news is. There might be a trip down to Jersey to go and actually see that facility they've taken over to really get an understanding. I think only by being there you can actually appreciate it. But I believe Nick is going down next week, so we might do an interview virtually. But they're big news from them, of course. Marula having extra news as well, and Truspine we're going to cover as well, who I know have had some developments recently. So do you want to kick off with Marula, Alan?
Yep, let's start with Marula. So, of course, Mark, you interview Jason very regularly. Jason Brewer, of course, the chief executive, long established, and 2023 was a seminal year for the company, Marula Mining. I mean, it just exploded into life, and I think it was a tip of the year at the start of 2023, and of course, the share price within the first few months just exploded into life, and Jason was putting together deals, and the company was developing really at breakneck speed. And of course, we're talking about three Aquis companies today, but I mean, Marula is now what's called an Apex company, so it means you can trade the stock easily online. And with Aquis, you have the two levels. You have the access, where a lot of the companies that initially list they become access listings on the website, and of course, depending on the growth and the turnover, you'll either qualify for Apex or you won't. But of course, Marula blasted through that qualifying criteria, became an Apex company, and if we look at the chart for the last year, the volume or the daily volume even is pretty impressive. Company's now got a market cap of 22 million. Shares are traded as high as 15.5p and as low as just over 7p on the year. And of course, right at the start of last year, they were trading down about 2 or 3p. So, Jason and his team have done an impressive job. Currently 12.75p, but lots of developments there over the year. So I'm just going to run through the key projects the company has. Of course, the company originally cornerstoned its investment proposition with the Blesberg lithium and tantalum mine in South Africa. That has gone through the commissioning process, and we've seen plenty on social media about how Jason and the team have brought that project to life. And of course, the biggest development there lately is the Rados ore sorter has been commissioned, and what this will do, it uses artificial intelligence or AI to sort the ore using various algorithms, and it has improved the recovery rate to 89%, which is pretty impressive. A pretty impressive step for the company to take. So what that's going to do is hugely expand the ore processing facility at Blesberg, and of course will improve Marula's profits as the ore goes to market and is acquired. So also the other significant developments in the past few months, we've seen a joint venture with Gems and Industrial Minerals, GIM, in Kenya. So Marula's really evolved over the past year to become a Pan-African company with operations in many of the key states. In Kenya, as I say, that the Larisoso manganese mine, a joint venture. The company's also appointed two key project geologists there, a project and a graduate geologist to work on the site there. And of course, then we have the Kanusi copper mine. We heard recently that the processing plant is being transported to Kanusi by the company Erudite, who are transporting and will also commission that mine. That's of course in Tanzania, and also in Tanzania, one of the other key developments, and I think which is what's really driving progress of late, is the Nyoronori graphite project, where the company has earlier in January signed 7 new mining licenses, or 7 new mining licenses were granted following the completion of the phase 1 exploration program. And Jason and the team said they're now ready to commence phase 2 there. And we heard, of course, this week that on the back of the phase 1 results, which are currently going through assays, going to be announced shortly, the company has applied for 8 additional licenses ahead of the publishing of these phase 1 results. So that says to me that it sounds as though these results are pretty good, and on the back of it, they're expanding the Nyoronori graphite project on the back of that. So further good news from there. And of course, the company also has the Nakomwa Hill asset. It's undertaking preliminary work there to assess phosphate and the extent of the rare earth resources, and that's in Zambia. So again, very much a Pan-African operation here. The other element that's really helped to drive and cement the relationship with investors is the relationship that Marula has with Q Global. Of course, this is backed by Quinton van der Berg. I know you interviewed Quinton when he came to London, Mark, recently. That was a big step for the company. And of course, with this Q Global partnership, who they invested in an initial 3.75 million at 3.75p. They've agreed to subscribe for a further 4.78 million at 10p, and that really puts a floor under the share price. But also, Jason and the team have been able to expand the operations and, of course, the board at this rate because they're backed by this sort of money. So they're building a Pan-African operation there, and of course, it's backed by Quinton van der Berg. And I think we're looking at the current share price 12.75p. With that floor now at 10p, it's not going to be here for long.
No, indeed. I know it's Jason's always busy doing something, isn't he, Alan? And of course, the backing, as you mentioned there, with Quinton is very, very important to have access to that kind of capital and that network that Quinton brings. And yeah, Jason doesn't seem to be slowing down. Never seems to be slowing down.
Of course, he's got the other companies that he's running.
Yeah.
Sugar Minerals, Unicorn Minerals. I saw the other day, and
Yeah.
Neo Metals. I mean, they're just. Where does he get the time? But he does.
Yeah, indeed. But I think it comes down to as well the opportunity that remains to be exploited in Africa. I know we talked about Kavango the other week based off of their news that they had with getting these small-scale gold operations and getting into big sort of bulk mining. And Ben explained on an interview and through Twitter, the opportunity that exists because of just under-exploration in Zimbabwe. And I think there's a huge opportunity in Africa. And Quinton said the same thing to me in an interview. He thinks it's got the future. And I do think it's got a great future ahead of it. So, I think they replicate the model that he's done at Marula. And, just build something that's... I think Quinton told me he wanted to build a huge mining conglomerate. So, great. Go for it. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was going to say he's well on the way to doing that, isn't he? I mean, it is genuinely Pan-African already, and I think conglomerate is the word. We've got could Marula be the next Rio Tinto? Who knows?
Who knows, indeed. Okay, so Voyager Life then, who of course had a big bit of news this week.
They've had a big bit of news, and again, Voyager Life. I think Voyager Life, the voyage of Voyager Life, if you like, I think epitomizes the CEO Nick Tulloch's approach to running a business. He's very shrewd, very careful with money, and takes small but meaningful steps forward in developing the business. And we've seen that, with his since his tenure at ECR Minerals, the way he approaches running a business. And I mean, Voyager Life is a company that IPO'd on Equus back in 2021, and of course has built up a range of CBD or premium CBD and hemp products at fair prices. It has operations based in Perth, in Scotland, and has made acquisitions throughout its life. Most recently in January this year, acquired Amphora Health, a CBD product company, on a share-based deal at 12p per share. Now, Voyager shares currently trading at 11p. It has a minuscule market cap of 1.58p, but really the shares haven't moved at all across the year. And of course, the company really has been a bit of a cash cow. It generates steady cash. But I think this week, it's undertaken the most transformative deal in its history to date, and one I think that gives the company two manufacturing bases. It has, of course, acquired has acquired a company called Northern Leaf that has an operation in Jersey, and this is something like 100,000 square feet of indoor growing facilities. It's an accredited facility with pharmaceutical customers in the UK and overseas. And of course, it is Voyager Can's manufacturing facility too, with three consumer brands: Voyager, Ascend Skincare, and Infused Amphora. And it's got an extensive distribution network, of course, with Voyager throughout the UK. So the terms of this merger basically will create an enlarged group worth some £5 million. And it's based on the current share price of 11p, but it's based on a deferred consideration and potential revenues from Northern Leaf. Northern Leaf would need to generate revenues of over 5 million by no later than March 2025. So that's a year from now, in order for the complete merger to finalize. But it will involve issuing some just under 34 million new Voyager shares, and includes a loyalty-based element and a performance-based element too. So this is a huge expansion of the company. Northern Leaf has this facility. There were some issues. I think the company has been struggling financially. So in a sense, with Nick and Voyager coming in, those issues are now at an end. There are the economies of scale generated as often happens in takeovers of this nature. And I think it's the company Northern Leaf had committed some time ago to list on public markets, and of course this is the perfect opportunity for them to do so. And in markets that have been, should we say, challenging over the past year, I think this is the right combination. Brings the two together, and of course with I think we can be confident with Nick Tuck at the helm that the company is going to really create something of value going forward. It's already a cash cow, the business, but I think now with the manufacturing facility, it has an opportunity to hugely scale up its products and become a real sort of cornerstone industry player.
Indeed, and of course Nick is ever expanding, isn't he? With of course the acquisition of Amphora a few weeks ago, and now this one, which is huge and really expands them into, well, the growing capabilities, not just making the products, but growing the product and indeed expanding into medicinal cannabis, which we know is an ever growing and accepted form of medication. The stigma around that is becoming less and less every year, and of course the UK government are supporting it as well. So fantastic, and like I say, I'm looking forward to seeing hopefully some insights from that facility, perhaps as early as next week. When Nick goes down there, because I think it's a real big moment for Voyager Life. So
it is hugely, and also just to say, of course, in December, when the first half numbers were announced, the company reported a cash balance of 551,000 in the bank. So the company is well cashed up. It's got plenty of cash. This is a share-based deal that's bringing the two companies and operations together. So that's a really important step, both for Northern Leaf, but I think it really transforms Voyager Life into something which is eminently scalable too, given the improving market for CBD products, and as you say, that stigma is diminishing week by week, month by month. So yeah, a bright future indeed.
Well, thank you, Alan. Let's catch up on Truspine then. What's been going on here?
Well, I said in a social media post after this was announced on Wednesday that it was a seminal moment for the company, which indeed it is. Now, Truspine it's a company that owns the IP to spinal fixation devices. There are numerous devices, but if you go to the website Truspine, TRUSPINE.org, you can and look at the link spinal fixation devices. You can see there's some great images of the devices, how they work, and of course what the devices do. Firstly, there's the Servilock system. It's a screw-free spinal stabilization system that's used in the cervical spine. It uses certain anatomic features of the posterior for Servilock anchors to attach to the bone. And this is, it's a hugely important development in spinal care and spinal health. And so many people have bad backs. I mean, I've got a minor issue with the disc in my back myself, and certainly this is going to be something that it will have a huge marketplace going forward. We've got a marketplace that's estimated to be in the billions, some 10 billion, I believe. There's also the grasp laminoplasty system, which uses the Servilock anchor and allows the spinal system to expand the spinal canal, which relieves pressure on the spinal cord, and that's where a lot of spinal injuries occur. There's also a system called Fascilock as well, but I won't go into too much details on the actual systems themselves. As I say, I'd urge people that want to look at it to go to the website truspine.org and click on the link to spinal fixation devices. So this week it was the company took a massive step forward, and that was in the provision of a new funding package. It's no secret that the company has undergone a challenging year. There have been issues with previous directors and also challenges faced by the board in regard to the ownership of the IP, and that's now been resolved by lawyers. Without a doubt, the IP is 100% owned by Truspine. So last week, 3 new directors were appointed. A fund manager, Jeff Miller, was brought in as chairman of the company, and Jeff has a lot of experience in life sciences and medical investments. And he also brought in as 2 non-execs Victoria Senna, Senna has previously worked for the Bank of England, and also Samuel Ogwen Alu, who has experience both in medical and pharma and life sciences background. So with this board in place, the company announced on Wednesday it had raised some £427,000, a combination of 290,000 raised through the issue of shares at 1.5 pence. Now I say this because the shares, for some reason, are still trading at 0.55 pence, and I don't think they're going to be here for long, because again the market has really yet to take this on board, and also I think a lot of the issues around the company will be resolved and have been resolved. Firstly, at the AGM today, which was the delayed 2022 AGM, and also the 2023 AGM, which is going to be held in April. And I think once we're past that, then all of the new resolutions will be in place to take the company forward. So the company's raised 422,000, combination of 290,000 through shares, and the remainder over a convertible loan note. But the company's also approved an unsecured convertible loan note facility to the value of 1.5 million. So effectively, it now has access to, it already has 427,000 in the bank. It now has access to a further £1.5 million worth of funding, which is transformational, given that the company was raising 50,000 here, 30,000 here over the past few months. So added to that, some of the key shareholders have agreed to take the money that's outstanding and convert it into the convertible loan note facility. So that also Jeff Miller, a director of the company, has also subscribed for convertible loan notes to 136,000. Added to which some historical warrants that had been issued to the board, some 16 million warrants in total have been surrendered. And of course, this then means that there won't be any downward pressure on the share price when the warrants get to that historic exercise price. So this is a huge step forward for the company, but also with this leadership now in place, the company has made significant steps forward on the commercial front as well, and that includes working with partners in the US to develop the distribution for the new SurveyLock system. The company is also working with the US FDA to get full approval for the distribution of SurveyLock, and those the company is expected to take significant steps forward in the coming weeks and months in that regard. Finally, today at the 2022 AGM, it was a chance for the new chairman, Jeff Miller, to introduce himself. He basically came in and just said that he's pleased to report these new changes, strengthening the company's decision, but also the company is going to adopt a new corporate governance code going forward to ensure decision making is optimized and there's absolute transparency there with all shareholders. So the business strategy going forward, it's as I said, it remains in discussions with potential strategic partners, and the company is going to make announcements in the coming weeks and months in that regard. So bear in mind, the money was raised at 1.5p. The shares are currently trading at 0.55p. So that says to me there's a huge valuation gap, and there is a huge opportunity to get into a company that at the moment is trading well under the floor of the raise that was announced on Wednesday.
Excellent. Okay, well, thank you very much, Alan, for talking to us there about Truspine. Lots going on in that company for sure.
It's been a difficult year, but I think there's a new board in place now, and with Jeff Miller at the helm, I think investors can actually look forward to some substantial developments. And of course, I think some very good corporate governance and high standards of transparency and reporting from here on.
Okay, good. Well, we shall watch this space and see how it goes. But thank you very much, Alan, for covering Truspine, Voyager Life, and indeed Marula Mining. And let's speak again next week.
Thank you, Mark. Have a good weekend.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like, or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.